Hello, my name is Avery Walton, and welcome to my podcast, A Every Day. You may find that the subject matter of this podcast is inappropriate, offensive, and not suitable for work or office spaces. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. With that, thank you for coming, and please enjoy my show. You have been warned.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're on A Every Day, where we talk about the real, raw, regular, everyday confessions of a bad bitch in training. And I am your resident bad bitch in training, Avery. Sometimes we might take a little bit to Twitter, we might take a little bit about Instagram, about your celebrities, about your sneaking links. I hope to have guests on the show, but most of all, I hope that we build a community here. I hope that we become like cousins. So let's, in order to become like family knows about everything about each other, so you need to know a little bit about me. My name, once again, is Avery. I am 24 years old. I'm a Sagittarius. I do have a big girl job, but I don't like how people act on the internet, so I'm not going to tell too much about my job on here. But once I do get comfortable on here, we feel like we're a community, I will start talking about it. But in that, this is not the show to be played out loud. This is not the show to be played at work. We are going to get real unchy on here. We're going to talk about everything, okay? And I mean everything. But I promise not to get so much that you need to feel like you need to go dip your ears into some baptismal water at the end of it. We just going to, get comfortable. We're going to be a community here together. Because that's really all that I want on A Every Day. Your casual... Think of me as like your bestie, the person you can talk to, share your secrets with. Like, because I get comfortable with you, I hope you get comfortable with me. On today's episode of Every Day, we're talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart, quite frankly. I really do enjoy talking about this topic. I feel like every time I talk about this topic with other people, they always have a different answer, or they always have a different kind of viewpoint when it comes to it. And so for me, I really enjoy talking about this topic because I feel that we should be open when we talk about this topic. I feel, especially for women, we shouldn't be scrutinized when we enjoy talking about this topic. Everybody does it at some point, and everybody is going to experience it at some point in their life. And if you haven't experienced it yet, then maybe you'll know a little bit of what you would like. Because my goal is, whenever I talk about this topic specifically, and I know I haven't said the name yet, but whenever I talk about this topic specifically, I always like to make sure that I am doing something educational. I'm talking about something educational. I am making the ground comfortable for other people to share. And I just need to talk to y'all regular. So, the topic we're going to be talking about today, as I said, one of my favorite topics to talk about is sex. And specifically, we're going to talk about casual sex. We're going to talk about sex. Can you fuck without feelings, specifically? Me personally, I can fuck without feelings. I am very capable of separating sex from a person. I don't have casual sex often, and I've never really had a one-night stand before. I don't think I've actually ever had a one-night stand. But specifically, I have been in situations where I've had sneaky links who were just friends with benefits, and it never evolved into a relationship. I never ended up having a crush on them or anything like that. But when it came down to when they called me at night, I pulled up. I called them at night, they pulled up. I feel as though a lot of people put a lot of emotional connection into sex, which is nothing wrong with that. I definitely think that sex gets a lot better when you have an emotional connection. So, and I hope, before I get into the story of the day, I really hope that the person, like, if they watch this, if they listen to my podcast, like, they don't think that I'm saying this out of, like, spite for them or anything like that. Mainly, I just have to use them as an example because this is like the most recent instance of this happening in my life. And yeah, so it's no hard feelings. I still love this person to this day. Like, if we hang out, like, we've hung out before, so it's just like, it's no hard feelings. I'll just say that. It's definitely no hard feelings. Okay, so me and this person, we low-key have been going on and off for, I want to say, since 2019. Not really, but kind of. Like, we met in 2019, and we didn't really start having this, like, friends with benefits relationship until, like, 2022. And, like, I don't know, for me personally, it was cool. Like, I was like, I'm very satisfied and I feel like they were also satisfied. It happened at least like once a week, very regular, and most of all, like, it was just two people who felt comfortable with each other, felt comfortable getting nasty with each other, and then also would, like, occasionally we would go out together. In my personal opinion, you know, when I say that I can separate sex from a person, who they are as a person, I mainly mean that, like, for me, sex is like, you have to obviously have some form of consideration for the other person. You know, getting tested, that's a huge thing for me. You have to make sure you get tested. You have to make sure that you are at least up to date on, like, when the last time you got tested was, or what your status was at your last testing. Even if you test positive or something, you should then still go in afterwards and just make sure that you're clear before you have sex with anybody else. And you should let your partners know every time. So let's start there when we really get into this casual sex conversation. Second of all, I really believe that you have to have some sort of, like, emotional consideration for the person that you're being a sneaky link with. So many girls today, they're being in situationships or in sneaky link relationships or, like, friends with benefits relationships, and the other person, like, really does not care about them. And that was one thing that I really had to learn hard. Like, it's one thing to, like, open your legs just because it feels good and you're enjoying it and you enjoy what you're doing, but it's another thing for the person who is like penetrating you, or just in general, like, having sex with you, to also have some form of consideration for you. Like, for example, like I said, going back to the same story, that sneaky link, he paid for every Uber, every Lyft. He paid for everything. Like, or if I paid it for it, he immediately reimbursed me the next day. And, like, he would buy me food. Like, we were just cool. Like, it was, or, you know, it had some form of consideration. Like, if I'm coming over to you and you know I don't drive, like, pay for the Lyft. And, like, not saying that he paid, well, he did pay for everyone, but he did it out of the kindness of his heart. Some of these niggas out here, you can't even get them to pick you up from the bus station. Like, you take a train or a bus all the way up to wherever, whatnot, and they won't even come scoop you from the damn bus station. But you over there catching Uber, Lyft, whatever to them, and they still get to fuck you. In the words of this one TikToker whose video I just reposted,
look, I know you deserve some, but he don't deserve
none.
Keep it closed.
So let's close them legs, because quite frankly, like, if you know your stuff is good, then you really have to keep that on lock, because these niggas do not deserve that. They don't. They are too busy being like, oh my god, I saw this one tweet on Twitter where this guy was like, you know, when you get in the head from a bad bitch and you just think to yourself, like, oh, I could do anything right now, I feel like I'm on top of the world. Like, that, hearing that shit is so radicalizing, because it makes you realize that, like, men really think of having sex with you as, like, conquering you. They have this ability to now be like, oh, I can do whatever I want to her. I can say whatever I want to her. It's the same reasoning why I say to, like, if I say nothing else smart on this podcast, take this one lesson from me, ladies. Do not ever tell a man the shit that you put up with in your last relationship, because I promise you, he's going to do that and some worse. He's going to press your boundaries even further. I promise you that is something that you probably have to learn, like, as hard-headed, because you feel like, oh, I should be able to tell my significant other what I've been through, what has happened to me in the past, and you're right, you should be able to do that, but don't tell him how much you tolerated with and you still stayed. Let me say that again. Don't tell him what you tolerated with your last nigga and you still stayed, because I promise you, he's gonna take that and run with it. Give a nigga an inch, he gonna take it a mile. I promise you. I promise you. Just watch. Excuse me, water break. But my favorite thing about friends with benefits is that, once you found like a real, I can definitely very much see how easy it is to, once you found like a good eater, like somebody who gonna put it down every time, how you would just want to stay with them every time, and then how quickly that can develop into like having a friendship, and how quickly that develops into situationships. Like, it is definitely a very slippery slope. However, if you have emotional discernment and your heart doesn't live in your coochie, which unfortunately for a lot of people it does, and I understand, I really do understand, but what I want you to know is that there are other people out there who will make you come like that. You don't have to stay with the same person because they gave you the best orgasms of your life. I promise you, there will be another person out there who's actually nice to you, who will give you the best orgasms of your life. It doesn't have to be like that. But most of all, sometimes it gets to the point when you're having sex with somebody and you're like, damn, like, why are you fucking me like this? And you just think to yourself, like, bro, ease up. Like, now I will be out in your bushes if you keep fucking me like this. This is really crazy. And that is how, like, easy it is, though. That once you get to that thought process, that's how easy it is to fall down into a situationship. Specifically with the person that I was talking to, who I was friends with benefits with, like I mentioned earlier. It started out just like we were linking up once a week. We were cool. And then at a certain point, we stopped linking. And he told me it was because he was still in love with his ex. And I was just like, whoa, like, where did that come from? Because mind you, again, we're linking up once a week. So, like, if you are out here having a whole relationship or getting into a relationship with somebody, or you're, like, talking to somebody seriously, how are you still linking with me at least once a week? Let's start there. Because I feel like if you, as soon as it gets, like, a semi-serious where you're like, oh, I'm about to be in a relationship with this person, I really feel like you should not be having sex with nobody else anymore. But that's just me. But anyways, we're neither here or there. But he said that he was feeling his ex more and he was falling in love with her. And I was just like, okay, whatever. I'm out. Fast forward a couple weeks, he said he came back and I was like, okay, whatever. Like I said, you can judge me all you want. But again, I do not care unless you say you are actively dating somebody. As long as I am not home wrecking, I am absolutely going to say yes to some dick. Absolutely. If I'm not home wrecking, and I've already had it before, mind you, already had it before. This is not towards a new dick. This is not towards dick that wants me and I don't know about it. This is towards dick I've already had before. We've already established that relationship. If you come back and I'm not home wrecking in no relationship, or you not talking to nobody, let's link. And especially if I already know your status too, let's link. Like, let's go. Like, it's fine. But beyond that, don't test your luck over here. Very strict around here. Don't play. Anyways, basically, he came back, and then we only linked like one more time after that. And the next time that we linked, he was on the same type of time. He was like, I'm in love with my ex. I messed up when we broke up, and now I feel bad. I feel like I'm cheating on her every time. And I'm just like, okay, so we don't gotta do this no more. Did I feel very disgruntled about it? Yes, I did. Because when I tell y'all, that was good. What we had was solid. So to be solid and then to no longer be solid, to be on shaky ground, it's just a little jarring, it's just a little bit too much for me to handle at that one point. But you just gotta stay up like a big girl, because at the end of the day, you are an adult, and like I said, there will be other people out there who are going to make you come as hard as another person has made you come. They might do it differently, and sometimes you might have to teach people, but like, good orgasms are abundant. They're everywhere. Okay? If somebody isn't able to give you that, then you need to learn how to do it for yourself. Stop being scared of your own coochie and get down there and get to work. She's there to help you. She's yours. You should learn her first before somebody else tries to learn her, and then find out what happened, and then see what the reaction is after that. I bet you it'll change your life. Okay? You know you best, so why don't you know her? Start there. But yeah, he went on to go be celibate. I'm proud of him, and he deserves that in his life. Am I feeding a little bit? Slightly. But again, nobody knows me better than I know myself. And no man can do that better for me than I can do that for myself. No man, partner, woman, whoever can do that for me better than I could do it for myself. So who am I to stop somebody in the middle of their journey? On the opposite side of that, and I hope this person does listen to this part of the podcast, because you really need to hear what it's like about yourself out loud, since apparently through text you like to misinterpret shit. But like I said, y'all, we getting real raw and regular on this bitch. But on the opposite side of that, I do have been in a situation where somebody is not able to have sex without feelings, or cannot separate me from sex. And so there's this guy who I used to link with, and this was like during quarantine 2020. Like, we had just started linking right when the pandemic hit, and so right when everything got shut down. And you know, what started out as first just like another one of those mutually beneficial situations, and it was good, it just slowly evolved into a situation where I was just like, damn, it's no longer like feeling good for me. It's feeling like you are only servicing yourself, and I'm not getting anything out of this. Like, and so, I mean, I literally, this one time, I timed it. And this is, you have to remember, like I said, we're building a community here, so you're not allowed to judge me on this part. And if you judge me, you need to get the hell off my podcast, because we don't accept judgments here. But there was this one time where I literally timed it. He texted me to link up. I said, and from the time that it took me, I was sneaking out of my house at the time. And sneaking out of my house felt like it took like 10 minutes every time. But I literally was only going from my room. I lived at that time on a 1-story. So I was going from my room out through the living room and around into the kitchen and into the back laundry room. And like, so, but that process felt like it took 10 minutes every time. And okay, yes, again, like I said, mind you, this is previous, so please do not judge me for sneaking out of my house. But you know, my mother only just recently found out I was having sex, and that was solely because I was like, I am over the age of 21. I feel though as an adult I should no longer be keeping secrets from you, and luckily my mother is a wonderful person and doesn't feel like she needs to kick me out of the house for having sex before marriage. So love you, Mom. And yeah, but at the time, she definitely did not know. I was already in college, and so I was like, I'm not gonna stop having sex. I'm just not gonna have sex in my mom's house because I don't disrespect her that way. But I was like, I'm gonna get my shit off. So I went ahead and snuck out. And from the time that it took me to sneak out, get around to the back, get through the backyard, around, down the driveway, into his car, drove up the street to our little spot or whatever, drive back to the spot, back to my house, get back into my house, get back into my bed. That whole process took 20 minutes total. The whole process, including me having to sneak out, took 20 minutes. Including we already had sex at that point. So when I tell y'all, like, and it was, I don't even fully know why it had gotten to that point. I think it was just mostly like he had his own issues. He was in his head or whatever, whatnot. But the boy used to nut fast. Like, it just, I got to a point where it just, like, it was 2 minutes and it was done. And I'm not even saying that in a mean way. I'm saying that, like, it's from the moment we first started fucking and he was lasting long-ish, you know, a good amount of time, to by the time we stopped fucking, like, he would nut so quickly, and I never understood that. And he used to say at one point, he was just like, you know, like, I can last long with other people, and I was just like, okay, I didn't exactly need to know that you're fucking other people, nor did I need to know that for some reason you can't last with me. But, like, I don't know what that means, but that's where he was like. And so, you know, I told him, I was just like, hey, I don't think this is working out. I think for the sake of our friendship and the sake of like your self-esteem, my self-esteem, I just think we need to stop doing this. I just don't think it's gonna work out for us. Boy, did he not like that. Boy, did he not like that answer. And I really think it's because, like, you know, as a man, you don't ever want to hear somebody say that they're not sexually satisfied. Like, you know, you can have a whole lot of issues, like somebody saying you're broke when you're not, you're just not spending on them, or, you know, you're ugly when you're not, you're just not attracted to them. But like, literally not being able to leave somebody sexually satisfied when you know that you've left other people sexually satisfied, I have to imagine is in some way like really emasculating. And especially like, and I don't mean for it to be, but it literally just got to the point where it was just like, hey, like, I don't think this is working out. I think we may need to like try something else, try again, like, you know, like, or just be cool, just be friends. And so we tried that for a little while, but every time I would get around him, he would be on some, can I see your nudes? Can I, you know, can you just like give me a head for the one time? And I was just like no, like, or he would ask me like, are you sure you still don't want to have sex? Like, I have gotten better now. One of my biggest things was that he would never give me head. And I was just like, you know, like, have you changed your mind on that? Because like, I don't want to ever have sex with somebody who doesn't feel comfortable doing something with me sexually. And so I feel like, especially if we're having sex, we should be pretty comfortable to a certain point on like what we're doing to one another. And so that was one of my things, was like, you know, you never give me head, but like, I've given you head pretty consistently, so like, why aren't you returning that favor? And he had his own issues with it. But most of all, it was just like, you know, kind of a reciprocation thing that I was mostly looking forward to. And he never would do it. So I was just like, you know, just overall, like, the whole thing is just not sexually satisfying for me anymore. I have now gotten to a point where, like, I understand what women are saying when they say, like, they'll be getting you to orgasm and then, like, just stop out of nowhere. So it's just like, bruh, like, why would I do that? Why would I continue to put myself to that torture? And especially now that you keep bothering me about still wanting to have sex, it got to a certain point where I literally had to block him off of everything. Like, he's literally blocked on everything, on every social media, because he would constantly try to have me reach out. And I'm not even gonna like embarrass him and say like all the things that he would do to still try to get my attention. But like, just, if you are not able to separate sex from the person, it can turn into like a very like kind of parasocial relationship where it's like you don't really know that person except for beyond the narrative that you have created for them, in their head. And so it's just kind of like, once you are able to have that kind of separation, I think your life will get so much better. But that leads me to talk about like kind of like next topic, which is like the Madonna Whore complex. And we're gonna get a little like psychological here for a second. I hope I don't spiral too long on this part of the topic. But basically, the Madonna Whore complex, and I'm so sorry to get so nerdy on y'all already. It's only the first episode, Avery. I know. But the Madonna Whore complex is I'm gonna put it in layman's terms rather than, actually no, I'm gonna give it the Wikipedia version of the Madonna Whore complex. Hold on. Okay, according to Wikipedia, in psychoanalytic literature, a Madonna Whore complex, also called a Madonna mistress complex, is the inability to maintain sexual arousal within a committed and loving relationship. First identified by Sigmund Freud, who called it psychic impotence, it is a psychological complex that is said to develop in men who see women as either saintly Madonnas or debased whores. Men with this complex desire a partner who has been degraded whore, while they cannot desire their respective partner, Madonna. Freud wrote, where such men love, they have no desire, and where they desire, they cannot love. And that is what I meant by men see sex as conquering somebody. If it wasn't for the fact that so many people view sex as a indicator of conquering women, as an indicator of, of power, as an indicator of wealth, and I don't want to even say just men, because there's plenty of women out there who also see sex as the same thing, who believe that the less bodies that they have, the more sexually pure they are, and yada yada yada. And of course, the people who consider their virginity to be like the number one holy grail. Everybody's definition of sex and casualness sex and, what is a whore, what's a slut, all of that is, very much up to everybody's own interpretation. For me personally, I feel as though everybody should just be able to have sex, have as much sex, have as little sex, have no sex, as much as they want. Like, that is all up to you and your definition on it. If you feel comfortable about talking about blowjobs and getting your ass ate, and feel comfortable talking about the 6ix9ine, the sex that you had the other day, I'm your girl. Okay? I'm all here for the details. If you're like, oh, I just found out about what teabagging means the other day, that's okay, sweetheart. How deep into the topic do you want to go? Let's go at your own pace. However, at the same time, when I was going back to the Madonna Whore complex, I feel as though that's what some people are reluctant to talk about, how many bodies they have, or if they've been tested for STDs or things like that, because you want to have this image in your head of a person who is untouched, still pure, still undegraded. If a woman comes to you and talks about how good she is about at her head game, or how good her pussy is, or this, that, and the third, it's the reason why, honestly, men get so weirded out by women rappers who are like, my pussy good, my pussy pink, my pussy pink, my booty hole brown, where the niggas, I'm looking for the hoes, come on nigga, come suck a bitch toes. Like, some men are not with the sexually open because they want the sexually untouched. They feel that it is their job to introduce somebody into that life. And me personally, I'm not going for it, love. I'm just not. I have done my own exploration, and I feel that is probably the healthiest way to do it, because nobody can tell me about my body better than I can tell myself about my body. And that is not to say that you should be out here having sex before marriage. If you are not one of those people who feel like you should have sex before marriage, that is perfectly fine. Me personally, though, I wanted to know what an orgasm was like. Really, truthfully, I just didn't want my husband to have a small dick, and then that is the only comparison I have for dick for the rest of my life. And how many Reddit posts there are of people who have cheated on their spouses, all because they did not go out and explore, because they felt that they had an obligation to whatever moral conscience that they abide by that stopped them from exploring. And so, personally, I just felt like I owed it to myself as a Sagittarius, I'm an adventurer, to do as much as little as possible. And now here I am, and I feel very comfortable in my sexuality. I feel very comfortable in myself, and I feel very comfortable talking about the topic of sex with you all. But most of all, to wrap it up for everybody, because I know I've been chattering away to y'all. Where we at? 35 minutes? Yeah, I've been chattering away to y'all. And I feel like we can get into longer episodes on a couple of the later episodes. But most of all, a couple of things. And again, cousins, I hope you feel comfortable sharing your viewpoints on sex, your viewpoints on casual sex, fucking without feelings. Are you able to fuck without feelings? Let me know. But I mostly would love to hear, for me to wrap it up, I would say that if you're having sex with somebody, have sex with somebody who cares about you, who's willing to pay for your Ubers, who's willing to get you some food for some time. It does not mean your relationship. It does not mean that you have to be saying that you're in love with the person. But I feel like there's nothing wrong with giving somebody a ride if they're about to come fuck you. If somebody can penetrate you, they can surely send you an Uber. That's just me. I also feel that, if you're not able to separate a person from sex once you start having sex with them, if you're not able to see them as their own person in of itself versus the sex that you have with them, then I feel that you need to do some definite introspection. And I also think you need to work on emotional discernment when it comes to sex. Personally, and some of y'all might get mad at me, But having sex with a nigga on your period does not mean that you soul tied to him. I'm gonna say that one more time. Having sex with a nigga on your period does not mean that you automatically soul tied to him. I want y'all to know that soul ties are either A, very intentional and have some like form of ritual behind them, and B, it is not that simple. Okay? If every nigga was soul tied to every girl that he has had period sex with or had some form of intercourse while she's on her period with, there would be a whole lot more love-struck niggas out here. But there's not. And don't get me wrong, if you were still spotting, if it was still just light and you still had sex with him, that is still having sex on your period, and it still did not soul tie him. So that's just me personally, and I am not a person whose heart lives in their coochie. Now, if you have tried to have casual sex before and you recognize that your heart lives in your coochie, then these streets are not for you. Stay at home. Learn yourself. Find a good toy. Because you do not need to be messing with somebody and all of a sudden you think you in love because they made you see stars. It don't work like that, and you will set yourself up deeply doing all that. Finally, and most of all, stop thinking of sex as, somebody conquering you. Nobody owns you because they had sex with you. Nobody can make a narrative about you just because they had sex with you. At the end of the day, you know yourself and you know your truth. And I know some people may be saying, oh, this is what you say to yourself to make yourself feel better. You're absolutely right. This is what I say to myself. Because at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck what people got to say about me. I had sex. Woo, sue me. I mean, if it was the 1500s, yeah, sure, I'd be stoned and told I need to go to a nunnery because I have disavowed myself before my husband. But thank God I live in 2024. And I can be on birth control, and I can choose to get tested, and I can choose to have a partner or many partners or no partners at all. Wow. Welcome to the modern day United States. Congratulations. I hope you're happy to be here. Okay? Anyways, we're going to end off with a little favorite topic, a little introduction to a little favorite term of mine. I don't think I coined this, but you might have heard it before. I want to say we're going to call this section the Messy Minute, but today's Messy Minute isn't really that messy, but I'm just going to introduce y'all to this term. My favorite term in the world for today's Messy Minute is coochie cousins. Coochie cousins is when you have sex with somebody and you are close to / friends with somebody who also had sex with that person. So in my case, it's just really funny because, you be talking to somebody and you're like, are you talking about so-and-so? And it's like, are you talking about so-and-so? And then all of a sudden in that one moment, it clicks. You're coochie cousins. I don't think there's a name for men. Penis partners? No, that doesn't sound right. I don't know. We're going to have to make a name for men. But for today's Messy Minute, we've learned coochie cousins. Anyways, y'all, my name is Avery. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode of A Every Day. I really enjoyed talking my shit with you. That's the only reason why I created this podcast, was to talk my shit. And so I hope you'll come back for the next episode. And I hope you'll tune in back in for not next week's, but 2 weeks from now. We're doing every other week kind of schedule. I don't know what we'll be talking about yet, but I know it's going to be a good time. And I hope you feel comfortable coming back, cousins. If you want to keep up with me or comment on anything you heard in today's episode, please follow my Instagram and my TikTok at The Real Raw Regular, and hopefully my YouTube should be up by then, called A Every Day. And once again, that on Instagram and TikTok, that is at The Real Raw Regular. Stay tuned, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!